Delta Station was a large space station floating between human and alien space. It was built by both humans and Therine, an alien species that had once been enemies but were now supposed to be allies. The station was a place of peace, trade, and learning. People from both sides came here to work, trade goods, and live together. It was a symbol of hope for the future. But that hope ended in fire. No one saw the attack coming. There were no warnings, no messages, no signs of danger. One moment, everything was normal. The next, it was chaos. Hundreds of small alien ships flew out of the dark, firing weapons at the station. The shields fell quickly. The attackers were fast and cruel. They didn't care who they killed. Humans, aliens, even their own kind. Everyone was a target. Screams filled the air as fires spread through the station. Parents held their children close, trying to find shelter. Engineers ran to stop the damage, but it was too late. Explosions shook the halls. Airlocks blew open. People were sucked into space. Thousands died in just a few hours. The attackers disappeared just as fast as they came. They left behind only silence, smoke, and death. Back on Earth, the news spread like fire. Images and videos from survivors shocked the world. People cried in the streets. Others shouted for revenge. The media called it the Delta Massacre. The name stuck. Commander Hejun sat alone in his quarters, watching the footage again and again. His younger sister, Bora, had been working as a station technician. She had sent him a message just one day before the attack. "Everything is good here," she had said with a smile. "Come visit when you get time." Now she was gone. Hejun was a strong man, a veteran of many battles. But this broke something inside him. He felt cold, angry, and hollow. The Therine said it wasn't them. They blamed a rogue group of their own people. They called it a mistake, a tragedy. But Hejun didn't believe them. Not anymore. On every human world, people demanded answers. The United Terran Council, the highest government of humanity, met to discuss what to do. Some leaders wanted peace. Others wanted war. Many were confused. But one thing was clear. Humans were no longer safe. Hejun knew what he had to do. He put on his uniform, stood before the council, and spoke in a calm, strong voice. "They killed thousands of our people," he said. "We cannot forgive. We cannot forget. We must act." The room was quiet. No one spoke. They all felt the same pain, the same anger. The Delta Massacre had changed everything. Now, humanity wanted justice. The United Terran Council met inside a large, silver building on Earth. It stood high above the clouds, with windows that showed the stars. This council was made of many leaders from different human planets. They were responsible for all of humanity's future. But today, they were not calm. They were angry, confused, and afraid. President Yunmai sat at the head of the round table. She was a calm and wise leader, but the look in her eyes showed sadness. She had lost her cousin in the Delta Station attack. Most council members had lost someone too. "We have received a message from the Therine High Council," she said. "They say they are sorry. They say it was a rogue group. They want peace to continue." Several council members scoffed. One man stood up quickly. "They say they're sorry," he shouted. "They let this happen. They let our people die. This is not peace. This is weakness." Another leader, an old woman with kind eyes, raised her voice. "If we rush to war, we could lose more lives." Maybe it really didn't know. "We must be careful." The room became loud with arguments. Some wanted to strike the Therine right away. Others wanted to wait for proof. Some still believed in peace, but the people outside the council walls were not so patient. Protests were rising across Earth and the colonies. People held signs that read, "Justice for Delta," "Stop the lies," and "No more waiting." Commander Hejun stood quietly at the edge of the room. He wore his black uniform with a silver star on his chest. His eyes were tired, but sharp. He stepped forward, and the room slowly went quiet. "I was a soldier in the Thurian Wars," Hajum began. "I believed the peace could last. My sister worked on Delta Station because I told her it was safe." He paused, then looked around the room. "She's dead now, along with thousands of others. The Thurians say it wasn't them, but they won't show us who it was. They won't help us find the ones responsible." President Yunmani nodded slowly. "What do you propose, Commander?" "We launch a mission," Hajun said, "not to start a war, but to show strength. We send a fleet to protect our borders. We investigate the truth ourselves. And if we find who did this, we bring them to justice." The room stayed silent for a few seconds. Then someone clapped. Another stood and said, "Yes, we must do something." The vote was taken. It was close, but in the end, Hajum's plan passed. Yunmei stood. "Very well. Operation Iron Resolve will begin. Commander Hajun, you will lead the mission. Choose your team. Do what you must." Hajun bowed his head. "I won't fail." As the meeting ended, Hajun walked through the council building. Outside, crowds of people gathered. When they saw him, they began to cheer. Some shouted his name. Others simply raised their fists to the sky. He didn't smile. He didn't wave. This wasn't a moment of pride. It was the beginning of something dangerous, something painful. But he knew one thing for sure. Justice would no longer wait. The stars were quiet as Commander Hajun stood on the bridge of the TSV Resolute *, the lead ship in the human fleet. Around him, officers moved quickly. Lights blinked on screens. Outside the window, dozens of ships floated in space, ready for war. Operation Iron Resolve had begun. This mission was not meant to destroy everything. It was meant to protect, to investigate, and to strike if needed. But every soldier on those ships carried anger in their hearts. They had seen the videos. They had lost people. They were ready to fight. Hajun looked to his side. Lieutenant Jiwoo stood next to him. She was younger, but sharp and brave. Her older brother had died in the Delta Station attack. She joined the mission right after his funeral. "We're ready for jump, Commander," Jiwoo said. "Do it," Hajun replied. In a flash of light, the fleet jumped into Thurian border space. The first stop was Station Ilara, a small Thurian outpost near the edge of human territory. They had sent no warning during the Delta attack. Hajun wanted answers. As the human fleet approached, the Thurian station powered its weapons. A warning was sent. "Leave our space," they said. "This is a violation of the peace treaty." Hajun responded calmly. "Delta Station was attacked. Thousands died. You did nothing. We are here for justice." The Thurian ships opened fire. The battle was quick. Human ships moved with perfect timing. Their weapons were strong and fast. Within minutes, the Thurian defenses were gone. No humans died. The station was taken. Inside, they found something strange. Computers had been wiped clean. No records. No logs. Someone was hiding something. Hajun ordered the prisoners taken in for questioning. He walked through the silent station halls, his boots echoing. He stopped at a wall where blast marks showed signs of fighting. There were signs of panic, but not from the humans. They were hiding from someone, Jiwoo said. Maybe even from their own people. Hajun nodded. Something is wrong. The Thurian know more than they say. Word of the battle spread quickly across space. Some alien groups called humans dangerous. Others stayed quiet. But on Earth, people cheered. For the first time since the massacre, they felt strong again. Hajun didn't celebrate. He knew this was just the beginning. More battles would come. More lies would be uncovered. That night, he stood alone in his room, looking at a small photo of his sister. She had a soft smile and bright eyes. "I'll find the truth," he whispered. "I promise." Outside his window, the human fleet drifted among the stars, like a storm waiting to strike. Operation Iron Resolve had started with fire, and it would not stop until justice was done. Far from the battlefield, in the dark corners of space, a woman named Su Min worked in silence. She was not a soldier. She didn't carry a gun. But her mission was just as dangerous. Su Min was an intelligence officer for the United Terran Council. Her job was to find the truth, no matter where it hid. After the Delta Massacre, she was sent deep into Therian space under a false name. She wore alien clothes, spoke their language, and lived among them. If she was caught, no one would save her. For weeks, she listened and watched. She met with traitors, spies, and old contacts. Most people were afraid to talk. Some said the attackers were rebels. Others said nothing at all. But then, one night, in a small bar on the moon of Rentar, she heard something strange. A Therian merchant spoke in a whisper. The High Council knew, he said. They knew about the attack before it happened. Su Min's heart beat faster. She leaned closer without showing her face. The merchant didn't know who she was. He was drunk and angry. They wanted the attack, he continued. They thought humans would be weak, that they would back down, beg for peace. They were wrong. The man laughed, but Su Min felt no joy. She left quietly and sent a coded message back to Earth. I have a lead. The High Council may be involved. The message reached Hejun aboard the *TSV Resolute *. He read it 3 times. If it was true, then this was not just a crime by a few rebels. This was a planned act, a betrayal. Prepare for more missions, he told Jiwoo. We need to find proof. At the same time, Su Min kept digging. She followed hidden data trails, old messages, and secret meetings. Slowly, a picture formed. The attack on Delta Station was not a mistake. It had been planned by a powerful group within the Therian government. They believed war would help them rise in power. They thought humans would not fight back. But they were wrong. Su Min gathered all the evidence she could. Secret voice messages, meeting records, even a video of one Therian leader saying, "Let the humans burn. They will kneel." She sent it all back to the United Terran Council. President Yunmai received the files in the middle of the night. She watched them with tears in her eyes. Then she stood and called an emergency meeting. Back in space, Hejun watched the footage with Jiwoo. Both were silent for a long time. They lied to us, Jiwoo said quietly. They watched our people die. Hejun nodded. Now the galaxy will know. The evidence changed everything. What began as a mission of justice now became a mission of truth. The human fleet would no longer just fight back. They would show the galaxy the face of betrayal. And this time, no lie could hide what had been done. The Therian stronghold was called Kyr's Maw. It was a giant space fortress built inside a spinning asteroid field. It had strong shields, many defense ships, and thousands of soldiers. It was also home to the Therian High Council, the same leaders who knew about the Delta Station attack and said nothing. Commander Hejun stood on the bridge of the *TSV Resolute *. He looked at the giant screen showing Kyr's Maw in the distance. This is it, he said. This is where we finish it. Beside him, Lieutenant Jiwoo checked the fleet's weapons. Her face was calm, but her hands were tight on the controls. All ships are ready, Commander. We're waiting for your order. Hejun nodded. Begin the attack. The human fleet moved forward like a wave. Therian ships rose to meet them. Missiles flew through space. Energy blasts lit up the stars. The battle had begun. It was the biggest space battle since the Old War. Ships exploded. Alarms rang. Fighters flew through the asteroid field, dodging rocks and enemy fire. Inside the chaos, Jiwoo's ship took a hit. The blast shook the hull, and smoke filled the air. We've lost engines, shouted an officer. Jiwoo stayed calm. Reroute power. Keep firing. The ship floated, damaged but not dead. Jiwoo kept giving orders. She refused to fall. Meanwhile, Hojun led the main attack. The human ships focused on the fortress shields. After hours of fighting, the shields finally cracked. A path opened. "Send in the ground team," Hojun ordered. Dropships flew into the fortress. Soldiers stormed the halls. They faced heavy fire, but they pushed forward. They had come too far to stop now. Hojun himself joined the assault team. He led from the front, his eyes sharp and focused. He moved through the burning corridors with one goal: to capture the Therian Council. After a long fight, they reached the main chamber. The Therian leaders sat behind armored glass, looking scared. They had never thought humans would come this far. One of the Therians shouted, "You have no right." Hojun stepped forward, holding a small device. He played the recording of the Council's secret meeting, the one where they said, "Let the humans burn." "You gave up that right," Hojun said coldly. The glass was opened. The Council was taken prisoner. Back on Earth, President Yunmai received the message. Asterisk, the Council is captured. The evidence is secure asterisk. She closed her eyes and whispered, "We did it." The battle was over. Kairos Maw had fallen. The human fleet had won. But the war was not just about fighting. It was about truth. It was about showing the galaxy that humanity would not be silent. As the soldiers walked through the halls of the fallen fortress, they passed signs written in Therian language. One of them read, "Asterisk power through silence." Asterisk. Hojun looked at it, then shook his head. "Not anymore," he said. And with that, humanity prepared to show the galaxy the truth behind the mask. News of the fall of Kairos Maw spread quickly. Every planet, every spaceport, every ship heard the same message. Asterisk. The Therian High Council has been captured. The truth is out. Asterisk. Videos and recordings from Su Min's investigation were shared across the galaxy. People watched in silence as the truth was shown. The Therian leaders had planned the Delta Station attack. They had hoped to weaken humanity. They believed humans would beg for peace. But humanity had not begged. Humanity had fought back. On many planets, aliens were shocked. Some were angry at the Therian. Others were afraid of the humans. For years, they had thought humans were soft, peaceful, weak. Now they saw something else. Humans were strong, brave, and not afraid to fight for justice. On a small trade moon, a group of alien merchants watched the recordings. One said, "The humans do not forget." Another replied, "They do not forgive either." Back on Earth, huge crowds gathered to celebrate. People waved flags, held pictures of the victims, and cried together. The faces of the dead from Delta Station were shown on every screen. They were no longer just names. They were remembered. Commander Hojun stood in front of the United Terran Council. He wore his black uniform, marked with scars from battle. The room was full of silence as he stepped forward. "We did not want war," he said, "but when our people were killed, we could not stay silent. We searched for truth. We found it. And now, the galaxy knows." President Yunmai stood beside him. "The Therian High Council will face trial," she said, "in front of humans, aliens, and all who care about justice." The trial is held in the neutral system, where no one had control. A large courtship was built just for the event. Judges from different species sat in a circle. The captured Therian leaders were brought in, their faces cold and proud. Su Min gave her report. She showed every file, every message, every video she found. She told the court how the council had planned everything, how they let thousands die, and how they lied to everyone after. One of the Therian tried to speak. "We did it for our people. We thought the humans were too proud." A judge replied, "Pride is not a reason to kill." The trial lasted for days. At the end, the court made its decision. Guilty. The Therian leaders would be sent to a prison world. Their power was gone. After the trial, Jiwoo walked beside Hojun on the viewing deck of the asterisk TSV Resolute asterisk. The stars were quiet again. "Do you think it's over?" she asked. Hajun looked out at the stars. "Maybe. But things have changed now. The galaxy knows who we are." Su Min joined them. She smiled slightly. "And they know we don't forget." The three stood there for a while, not speaking. They had fought a hard battle. They had lost friends, but they had brought truth to light. And now, for the first time in a long time, peace felt possible again. The sky over Earth was calm. Blue clouds moved slowly, and the sun rose gently above the horizon. It was a peaceful morning, something many people had not felt in a long time. Commander Hejun stood in front of a small memorial in the center of Seoul. It was a black stone wall, covered in the names of those lost in the Delta Station attack. Flowers and pictures were placed at its base. People stood in silence, some holding hands, some wiping tears. Hejun placed a white flower beneath his sister's name. "She would have been proud of you," Ji-woo said quietly beside him. Hejun gave a small nod. "We didn't get revenge. We got justice. That's what matters." All across human space, memorials like this one were built. They reminded people of what had happened and why they must never forget. Meanwhile, the galaxy began to change. The fall of the Thurene High Council created a new wave of fear and respect. Some alien governments became more open and honest. Others began to review their own leaders. The galaxy had learned a lesson: never underestimate humanity. The United Terran Council, once seen as weak, was now a symbol of strength. President Yunmei worked with other peaceful races to build stronger alliances. The new Galactic Justice Board was created, with humans as one of the leading voices. Su Min was offered a high role in the intelligence division. She accepted, but she still worked in secret places, always searching for hidden dangers. "I prefer the shadows," she told Hejun with a small smile. "There's always more truth hiding somewhere." Ji-woo returned to space, now promoted to captain. Her ship, *TSV Guardian*, was part of the new Peace Patrol fleet. Their job was to protect the weak and stop future threats before they grew. "Let them come," she said once. "We're ready now." As for Hejun, he was offered many medals, awards, and even a seat in the council, but he turned them down. He didn't want power. He wanted peace. He chose to teach at the military academy, training young cadets. "I will teach them more than how to fight," he said. "I will teach them why we fight, and when not to." One night, Hejun walked alone through the academy grounds. The stars above him were bright and silent. He looked up and whispered, "We did it. You can rest now." His words were not just for his sister, but for all who had fallen. The war was over. The truth was known. Humanity had stood strong, not with hate, but with justice. And now, the galaxy would remember, not just the day the Delta Station fell, but the day humanity rose.